What's up, buddies? It's Concert Buddy. Real quick video I'm going to fire off today. Just a video of gratitude. I haven't done one of these in a hot minute, and I'm coming off of a really wonderful trip, so I'm feeling pretty good and got some good news to share. So if you're into a feel-good video, hopefully this is your jam. Cue that lever. Let's get into it now. Just came back from a terrific family spring break trip to Seattle, Washington, of all places. A place that my wife and her traveling days before me, and in my traveling days before her and since, is one of those few places we haven't gone together. My son is really into music right now, particularly like grunge 90s type of music, so it was the perfect storm to coalesce to lead us to Seattle, and I'll talk about that here in a second. But this video in particular we'll touch on that a little bit, but more so I just want to be very thankful and very mindful of what a great community we have. I know sometimes it can be a little choppy. It's like the sea. Sometimes the waters are choppy and rocky and whatever, but the vinyl community as a whole, I think, is really, really awesome.
Take a big step back and literally fuck your own face!
And here's why. One, I think that the connections, the community piece, and really connecting with literally complete strangers, that really the only thing, the baseline that you have in common is music and liking records and collecting records and sharing best practices, all that stuff. So it's a really, really awesome foundation if you think about it. I know sometimes things can get a little choppy and feelings can get hurt, and we've got some gatekeeping going on. I'm not going to really touch on that stuff. I'm really going to focus on the positive. And so the community has really been great for me in a lot of ways. One of those ways was recently a member of our community, Joe Marino, looking at you, pal, was kind enough to send me some VCLT, unsolicited. Just got a package in the mail. It actually came in one of those Acoustic Sounds mailers. So I thought maybe I had just forgotten another Acoustic Sounds pre-order. But Joe, being sustainable fella that he is, reused arguably the best mailer in the business and sent me some really cool records. Let me show you those right now.
Because I've got the most positive attitude.
All right, so the first record I'm going to show here from Joe Marino is a record called All Night Long. This is Donald Byrd. It's a Kenny Burrell record, actually, but as you can see, Kenny's actually in third bill here, which is kind of interesting. Kind of threw me off when I first saw it, and even when I'm reading it here, because you would think, oh, Donald Byrd record, right? Nope. Not so much, folks, if you can see that on the spine. Usually, I gotta be honest, my jazz knowledge is improving, but I will never, ever, ever consider myself a jazz expert, nor do I want to be.
Snap!
But I've learned one thing, and hopefully this is something that I can impart on you, is it's a good practice to look at the players on a recording, and if it's usually a lot of the, call it name guys or names you've heard of, is probably going to be a good jam. So on this one, we've got Hank Mobley, a really good player. Kenny Burrell, really good guitar player. I've talked about some of his stuff on the channel before. The aforementioned Donald Byrd, Mal Waldron on piano. So anyway, tell this is going to be a big winner on this nice prestige label. Joe, maybe in the comments below, if you watch this, I couldn't find the exact pressing of this one. I believe it's, actually I know it's a reissue, because another jazz thing, old original jazz records, super expensive. So if you're thinking about getting into jazz, there's a lot of great videos out in the community talking about that. But from my own journey with jazz, it can get a little pricey. All that said, this is a really cool record. Really great shape. Can't wait to jammer.
Let me tell you something right now. It don't work that way.
So the next record Joe was kind enough to gift me was Billie Holiday, titles of Songs for Distinguee, probably mispronounced that, sorry, Lovers. And this is another reissue. This is on really cool Verb label here. I gotta be honest, when it comes to the singer, I wouldn't even call it singer-songwriter, just the female voices, female vocals. Like if you go to your local record store, I've been to a local record store, sometimes they break out these singers away from jazz and they'll say male vocals, female vocals, etc. Billie Holiday is a name I know, and I'm sure a lot of you know too, as one of the great voices in kind of like smooth, old. I think this is probably, let's call it, and again, I'm showing my naivete, like 40s, 50s, 60s type of era of singers. Anyway, it's another one that, and this is kind of the beauty of VCLT. It's something that I probably wouldn't have gravitated toward myself, but the fact it was gifted to me, I'm actually excited to kind of dig in. And I know there's a lot of folks like Scott Wilson over at The Pressing Matters who know a lot more about this type of album and Billie Holiday than I could ever impart on you viewers. But again, VCLT is one of the fantastic things is trying new things. Like you go to a new restaurant somebody recommends and try something. Now sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but the journey is what's important. So I'm looking forward to playing this one soon.
Well, this is William M. Buttlicker.
Hello, Mr. Buttlicker. How may we help you?
And the final record that Joe was kind enough to VCLT to me is a record and an artist I'd never even heard of. This is, I believe, Rustin Kelly, and it's called Shape and Destroy. Still in the shrink. Nice condition. Now, of the 3 records, this is the one I've played so far. And I put it at my backup turntable when I was working one day. And it's very like singer-songwriter-ish. I got some kind of John Mayer, Ray LaMontagne, like that kind of Amos Lee type of vibes to an extent, like indie. Again, I don't know a lot about this artist, and Joe had even prefaced in the kind note he had sent to me that this may not be something I would be into, but something that he was, interested in sharing with me. So I enjoyed it. It's I guess the way I would describe it is it's good music, good background music. Music like if you had friends over for a dinner party, you can put on. It's just nice and clean and smooth and non-offensive, non-polarizing. Like if you put a John Mayer record on, like some people are like, oh man, this is awesome, and other people would be like, I hate John Mayer because he's a serial dater and whatever, right? So which sometimes those conversations at dinner can be kind of fun. But anyway, this is actually a pretty good listen. And Joe, again, I thank you so much. One, for your friendship, two, for sending me this VCLT, which you totally didn't have to do, but the kindness speaks to the type of dude you are, and I really appreciate sending these records my way to try something new that, again, I wouldn't normally try outside of my normal zone.
You like Huey Lewis on the news?
But buddies, there is more good news coming. So recently, our friend David Bianco over at Safe and Sound Texas Audio Excursion, it's a mouthful, but once you know it, it flows pretty easily, recently hit 2,000 subscribers. I'll put a link below for David's channel. David does really great work, not only on his channel, breaking down a lot of technical stuff. I mean, he's listened to music and been a part of the industry. He was a DJ at one point for most of his 65 years here on this planet. Plus, he's been a valued partner when it comes to Vinyl Community Podcasts. See, another cheap plug. But anyway, so recently he hit 2,000 subscribers on his channel. Again, congratulations, David, for that. And he ran a contest, and he actually had a very innovative way to do a contest. A lot of contests are pull records, show records, etc. David did I would call it impromptu. There was, I think, a day or two in advanced planning, but a live stream for subscribers only, which I thought was very smart, to reward part of the 2,000 folks who have joined him on his audio excursion. See what I did there, David? But with that, if you took part in the live stream, he was going to do a giveaway to celebrate his 2,000 subs milestone. All that said, I tuned in. Low expectation on winning. I didn't even know the pretense of what the contest would be, but I want to be there to support David because he's been a great supporter of mine, and that's what the community is about, is just supporting each other, right? All that said, David's contest was basically reading off some trivia questions-ish of a movie, was kind of the overarching theme, and I won, which was really rad, really unexpected. I think he only got to maybe the third question. And I'm going to spill the tea. I'm going to be honest here. I knew of the movie. Let me show you the movie because there's a great story behind it. So it's called Thing You Do. This is a movie that Tom Hanks starred in. So actually, I think Liv Tyler was in this. Steve Zahn is in this. And it's about a fictitious band from the 60s kind of breaking into at the beginning of rock and roll, that kind of sort of thing. So I've seen this movie before. It's a nice movie. But spilling the tea here. I know it's one of David's favorite movies. Just know that. Just know it from knowing it. So he started and he was reading the questions, and the first 2 questions, no clue. But when he said, he gave a specific date, and I think it was like 1964, I figured, what the hell? I'm just going to throw it out there. And I said, that thing you do, and winner, winner, ding, 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 chicken dinner, I won. So I know people on the live stream are like, man, how did Chance know this? He must really love this movie. Not so much. It's completely shit on a wall, but it's why it's important to listen to people when they talk and get to know people, because, again, had I not known David and gotten to know him and knew that this was his favorite movie, I wouldn't have known. I mean, 1964, there's so many movies from back then. Anyway, real cool story about this is a unofficial release that David actually had commissioned. He loves this soundtrack so much that he wanted to have it on vinyl. And he actually was kind enough, not only did he send me the record for winning, he actually sent me the CD too, so really, really awesome. But David, sent this somewhere, and maybe in the comments below, David can kind of give a little bit of the details, but basically had a commission to put it to vinyl so he could enjoy it on vinyl. Like, that's a real passion project. You hear that term thrown around a lot, passion project. But anyway, I'm really excited to see how this, listen to how this sounds, see how it sounds, listen to how this sounds. And again, David, thank you again. Another thank you for your friendship, and thank you for everything you do for the podcast and the channel and vice versa. But anyway, this is an awesome prize that I didn't expect to win, and happy to add this. It's essentially a 1 of 1 if you think about it, but really cool to add it nonetheless. Thanks, David.
Thanks.
All right, so another thank you is to Record Collector News, and specifically Jim Kaplan. I don't know if Jim is watching or will watch this, but Jim gave me an opportunity a few months ago to write something for this publication, and I was happy to do so, and just kind of talked about, one of my exploits when it comes to finding records. This is the article. It's found on page 38 of the current issue, found at fine record stores on the coast. We're trying to work on the Midwest here, but anyway, you can find these at record stores, hopefully in your area. And on page 38, they made the mistake or the great decision, whatever way you want to look at it, of publishing this article. That is not me. That is Dylan Smith over at Noble Records. I know we often get confused because we're both sexy beasts, but bearded beasts. But I did talk about him in this article. Anyway, really awesome. And if you look closely, our first ever advertisement for Vinyl Community Podcasts is right there. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so thank you to Jim for that opportunity to write for this. I know a lot of other folks in the VC, Mazzy, Stunty, Rob the Wax, a lot of other people have contributed. I even know some other contributors coming up. I won't spill that information, but exciting stuff that Jim offers a lot of folks in the YouTube vinyl community, if you will, a forum and an opportunity to write for his publication, and he couldn't be a nicer guy. So Jim, thank you for the opportunity, sir.
Thanks.
All right, so I'm going to tie this in a big bow. Remember at the beginning I was talking about coming back from my Seattle trip, and there'll be probably a video or two coming out after this one at some point, talking about the awesome records I got. I mean, it's crazy. I've got bags on bags on bags, right? We actually ran out of boxes to bring this back because my son is collecting records too, and so he was really on the hunt and found some really great stuff. All that said, 2 quick thank yous, and quick is probably not doing it justice, but one, thank you to Norman Maslov. Mazzy was kind enough to host my family and I in his home for a few hours. We did a whack-a-mole. I'll put the link below. It was a lot of fun. Mazzy is literally like the matrix of music information. There's stuff he doesn't know. I think he'd be the first to admit that. But for, again, a life in music, his recall is like lights out. And literally, if you haven't seen the Whack-A-Mole series, it's just randomly picking some records from his collection, and he talks about them. It's a very easy premise, simple premise, but it couldn't be done without his subject matter expertise and his experience in his own collection, right? So that was a lot of fun. He allowed my son to pick a couple records, allowed me to pick a couple records. I did okay, I guess, but it was just awesome to connect. And that's, again, going back to connecting in a community is really the lifeblood of why I've continued to make the YouTube videos and why I really thought about doing the podcast thing with, again, folks from the community. But it was really a lot of fun to, as a part of our Seattle trip, to go to Mazzy's house. He couldn't have been more gracious, a wonderful host. It was really awesome to connect with him directly because we've, done the live streams before and, in the comments and on Instagram and all that stuff. But getting face to face, especially someone from the Midwest who's not in that general area all too often. It's just awesome. So Mazzy, thank you for that.
Thanks.
But that's not all. A big shout out. The next day on our trip, we went over to Tacoma, which is, I think, southwest of Seattle proper, and visited Harry over at Harry's music room. Harry is a wonderful guy, nice guy. He's been nothing but nice to me. He's been nothing but nice to others in the community. He's quick to call on bullshit. I'll say that. Harry don't hold back words. But you know, being in that area, I just kind of reached out. I was like, Harry, I'm gonna have a day. You want to get together? Oh yeah, let's go. And I'd always wanted to go to High Voltage Records, which is a shop in Tacoma. If you've seen one of my other videos about my favorite record stores to buy from online, High Voltage is right there. Their website, top tier, great user interface, great selection. They put a lot of it used on there. And I'll put a link below for that too. Anyway, so as part of going to Tacoma to visit their actual physical imprint, their physical location, Harry and I met there. A friend of theirs who they affectionately call as Elk Boy, it's not my story to tell, he came up and met us too, but Harry could have been nicer. It's just so fun to like meet people in person and actually talk about music in person. It's fun to do it in the community and through videos and live streams and what have you. But Harry couldn't have been nicer. He actually shuttled us around to a couple other record stores that are literally in that same area. And it was just a great hang. He bought a couple records. We bought a few more records. Shout out to High Voltage because, again, we were running out of room. I had actually, telling on myself, I had asked for a favor from Harry because we're running out of room. If you could bring me a mailer like a champ, Rocky Balboa style, brought me a nice mailer so we could throw a few more records in there. But High Voltage was kind enough to, when I talked to them, I was in their computer from buying stuff online. And so I was able to, the records I bought there, which I'll show in a future video, they were able to ship them to me. So then they're en route right now. But super excited to get those. And Harry, thank you so much for your hospitality, your kindness. It's really cool to connect with you. And I really, really hope you're going to be part of this Austin VC posse we're trying to get together for the show in the fall. I think the Austin Record Convention in the fall, it goes to anybody watching this, quite frankly. One of the best shows, if not the biggest and best show in the United States, is the Austin Record Convention. I've been the last 2 years. I'm going again this year and really trying to get more people to go because it'd be so cool to just connect not only at the record show, but let's go to dinner, maybe there's some live music, whatever. Just meeting people. And that's the best thing. Again, I've said it probably the fifth time I've said in this video, is the connecting with the audience, connecting with other creators, connecting with people who just watch videos and don't make videos. I'm thinking of like Travis Foley is a great guy near me. It's just been awesome. And that's the lifeblood, you know, when you get some of the negativity and you get some people who just don't like you, that's just life. That's just life. And it is how it is. And it's unfortunate because I honestly, genuinely, if you don't believe this, I don't know what to tell you, but I want this to be a positive experience, not just for people watching this, but for people doing this on their own, people new to creating content, people who have been doing it a while and are kind of getting frustrated and, you know, sharing best practices. This should be fun. If it's not fun, it's not worth doing. I mean, we have time is our most valuable commodity, and why waste your time on something that makes you miserable? That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, a big, big birthday cake candle close on this thank you video to everyone I mentioned in the video. Thank you, the viewer, for watching this, because without you guys, I don't know if I'd be doing this. Connecting with you is literally my favorite thing to do when it comes to these videos. The music's great. The music is awesome, but connecting with people is even better. So buddies, it's enough. Thought this was going to be a short video, but maybe it's not. Anyway, when you get the chance to connect with people in the VC, listen to some records, all that good stuff, just spin it. Catch you later.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
Well, we out of time.